Hello, Pat Stoner.
Hey, Pat, how you doing, man? Good to see you.
Pal? God, I love this film.
Oh, I'm glad you did.
Oh, yeah. We've got 5 minutes to talk about today. Okay, I'll leave the Middle East peace thing out.
Thank you. Stand by, please.
Too bad, too. Pretty sure you had... Well, I did, but I don't want to just spend the time flattering you because it is a wonderful film.
Oh, thank you.
Your actors say something I find kind of interesting. You're willing to let them have as many takes as they want. I mean, that's expensive to begin with, Quentin. Your feelings about that?
Well, it's like, I'm never going to move on until I get it.
That's what he said. Yeah.
All right, that's just the #1 thing, you know. And I'm an actor, and I have an appreciation for acting, so I know when we got it and when we didn't. All right, you know. Oftentimes, what will happen with an actor is the director who doesn't know a whole lot about acting, an actor will end up pushing to get a result in a scene and, you know, wrinkle the forehead, you know, or wrinkle the eyebrow to make their point, and the director, oh, beautiful, great, excellent. And the guy knows he didn't do it. No, you're just, no, don't go with that.
Fine. It's
don't
fine.
Don't go with that, you know. Let me do another one here. Okay, I know when we got it, all right? And if I think we've gotten it and we're ready to move on and an actor wants another take, make them happy. It's not a problem. I mean, unless it's a major time problem, you know, it's like, why not? You know, it's just film. Film is the cheapest element on the set that we have there. I mean, we've done all this stuff to get all these people together here. The film is the least expensive thing there.
Well, there's another thing that your actors say you do that I like a lot, which is, I was told, Forster said, he said, if you want to take more time doing that, he said, I don't mind, this is quoting you, he said, I don't mind going around to get there from here. I'll just take it if it works.
Right.
I like that about this film. Sometimes some shots, they linger.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
MTV would not be happy with this, Quentin.
Oh, yeah, no. There's like, we're into these people. All right, we're into these people, and I like just like, you know, setting up the shot and letting them hold it. You know, letting them hold it. And like I said, we don't want to be result oriented. All right, you know, we're like, okay, we got to get to where we're going. Is not story wise, but I'm just talking about like actor emotion wise. All right, no. Just get there just naturally. All right, you know, it's about the journey. It's about the journey. It's not about the destination.
Yes. Now, you also could have fallen prey to the temptation to out-Tarantino in terms of one aspect of Tarantino that became famous, which, of course, you know, instead of splattering brains this time, maybe now we'll take intestines and put them on.
Right,
because, you know, there are people that want to see, oh, is he going to shock me now?
Right.
You resisted that. I'm sure there must have been people, especially young people, kind of, that's all they can see, that's all they can think about, the shock value of it.
Well, you know what? I think that was the case when Pulp Fiction first opened. But I think the whole violence issue became less and less and less. All right, the more the film found acceptance and the more the film kind of found its place. All right.
I'm not talking about the controversy against the violence. I'm talking about the enjoyment of it, and that he's going to titillate us the next time by trying to outdo himself,
right,
which
exactly.
Clearly you had no interest in doing.
Right, exactly. Yeah, but the thing about it, though, is like I didn't de-emphasize the violence in Jackie Brown any more than I emphasized the violence in Pulp Fiction. All right, you know, it was, you know,
that's
I mean,
where it was in both places.
Exactly. You know, if Elmore Leonard had written more violent scenes in the book, and they had been organic, I wouldn't have hesitated about doing them at all right? But I wasn't trying to crank it up for that.
Well, and that might have been the temptation to satisfy, say, some box office potential. They're going to want a scene, Quentin. They're going to want a scene in there in which somebody's head gets blown off. Come on, give me that.
Right,
you wouldn't have done that, would you?
No, not never for those reasons. Then, if I did something for that reason, then I would be like the way some of the critics have accused me of being, that I've always said I'm not.
No, when I first interviewed you, the one thing that was absolutely sure about you, if nothing else, was you were dead sincere about your love of this.
No.
And you haven't lost that, have you?
No, not at all. Not at all.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
In L.A., I'm Patrick Stoner. Thank you.
Thank
Very
you
nice.
so much. Oh,
And I just loved what you did with it. I like it better than the book. Your ending. It's
Yeah.
much better than the book.
Yeah, I felt the ending was a touch ambiguous in the book, and when I didn't want ambiguous, I didn't want it to be ambiguous.
Yeah. Well, it sort of implies that it's going to work out.
Right. Yeah.
No, it's not going to.
No, it's not going to work out.
And
yeah.
it's just so much more realistic.
Yeah, that's how I felt about it.
So romantic. Oh, I just love it, and I love her.
Yeah, she's excellent in it, isn't she?
You are like you're like a career CPR expert. It's interesting. You have so much power to and people they're just talking about you like you're a god. What does that feel like?
Well, it's like I don't know. It's cool to be able to cast the actors that you think would be appropriate for the film. Now it's like, the only thing that's weird about like, oh, so you revive people's careers, huh? And that's your thing. I go, well, my thing is casting the right actor for the right role. If that ends up happening as a byproduct of that, it couldn't happen to better actors. All right. However, it's like, it's not a stunt. I'm not doing it as a stunt. I'm not doing it for philanthropic reasons either. I'm doing it because I'm trying to find the right actors. But what makes me different than a lot of directors is I have more knowledge of all the different actors that are out there. A lot of directors, especially in the studio level, are just pretty much are casting the same group of actors that have been in the same group of movies for the last 5 years. I mean, all the way down to the character actors roles.
So true. That is so true.
And the casting directors who should know more about all the different people out there, they don't. They're still offering up the same actors.
They're not a sure thing, right?
They're not a sure thing, and they're just not hot. I mean, there's a lot of casting directors basically just don't do their job. They know who all the other casting directors know, which is basically everybody who's on that A-list and hot B list.
Yeah.
All right. But then there's but then there's actors like Robert Forster who have been around forever.
So
all right. And say, where did he go? Well, he didn't go anywhere. All right. He's been working. All right. A lot of his stuff has gone straight to video, and some of it's not good, and some of it is, and that's what it is. But his work is always good.
Exactly, and that's what you saw. Well, I have a question that's kind of a weird question, but John Grisham wrote an article a couple of years ago in a law magazine about copycat crimes and kids who perform crimes that they have seen in movies.
Right.
And his feeling was that directors should be held responsible. What are your thoughts about that?
I actually find, especially an artist putting forth that point of view is a very strange thing indeed. He didn't say it about me. He was talking about Oliver Stone in that instance and everything. I don't think that's the case. I mean, when people talk about what about kids seeing this movie, that movie, or that movie, all right? Well, I am the kid that they are referring to, all right? When I was a kid, I saw Deliverance and I saw The Wild Bunch. I saw Deliverance and The Wild Bunch on a double feature, all right? I saw all those movies, all right, and I loved them. All right, and maybe I was a little bit more of a badass on the playground, all right, but I didn't, but I survived it. I was fine. All right. A kid who's not fine is not a fine kid. All right. Somebody said, well, but things are different now. Kids are all of a sudden now walking around with loaded guns, and it's not just a punch in the face. If you've got a 10-year-old boy walking around with a loaded gun, he don't need a movie to set him off.
That's right. Exactly. Absolutely. And my feeling is that if violence in movies caused violence in real life, then death row would be lined with film critics.
Yeah.
And we all know that is not the case. There's another question I have about smoking in movies, because it seems to be coming back.
I know. It was really funny because this whole Hillary Clinton thing about complaining about Julia Roberts smoking, and it's like with Jackie Brown, I was like, oh, well, here's a movie that there can't be that much controversial about it, all right? Because it's it's a very character-oriented piece, and and it's all these good things about it and everything.
Not too bloody.
Yeah, and I was just like, well, okay, so this will one of that I won't have to deal with that controversial stuff, all right? And then lo and behold, there's all this smoking stuff now. That's a bad thing, you know? Not blowing people's heads off, all right? That would be okay if I did that in this one, all right? But oh, don't let Pam Grier smoke in it.
Well, I guess you can do it now, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing about it is, like, but I had to say, my feeling about that is the same as my feeling about characters like saying, cuss words or violence or something like that. That, smoking is part of Jackie's character. You read the novel. That is a major function of her character. It's kind of like her way to as she never panics in situations, but part of the reason is because she smokes that cigarette that calms her down, all right? And that's just her. That's a function of her. That's as much a part of her character as anything is.
So you take that away, and she's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, would audiences necessarily miss it? Probably not, but I know it would be false.
Yes, right, and that's your responsibility.
What's the deal with Sam Jackson having a bad haircut in every one of your films?
Well, that's subject to taste, actually. In this case, this was his idea. The whole idea of the long hair, which is very, like what Ron O'Neal had in Superfly, and a little bit like samurai kind of like wear. But when he lets it down, when he takes it out of the ponytail and it just kind of like hangs down and everything, we were joking. He looks like the devil in a Mexican horror movie, El Diablo, this stringy hair and everything. He cuts a pretty striking figure in the film, and then his little braid, his little kung fu braid.